This is the one chart to pay attention to right now. It is Nvidia, and it matters because we're going to hear about earnings tomorrow after the bell. Are we going to get Cool Man in the cool jacket, or are we going to get a different Jensen Huang? That's a really important question. Right now, the stock is up by nearly 5% today, closing right around a new record high. But we're not sure what's going to happen here. If we look back to the last earnings report, what happened? Well, the last time we had a big price discovery, it looks similar to here, right? Tap it once, come back up, tap it. Remember, he's been traveling all around the world talking about AI agents, quantum AI. I think there might be some hype here, but this is the KO that I'm talking about in today's video. There is a bear recipe, which as of right now is still the dominant theme. I would argue we were going up, we went down, now we're going sideways, but the knockout is this candle right here. Why? It's a bullish engulfing candle, which means the word bullish is in it. What does that mean? It means it's bullish if we continue to go higher from here. So now we have to form higher lows and higher highs and close over those candle highs. So what does this really mean? Because I'm still not clear. As of right now, we still have a higher low on the weekly. You can see that right here. That's the first spot we want to buy. There is no bear recipe on the weekly or the monthly. But what we can notice that we've now entered the gap. We broke the range, which means we have the inside bar. The inside bar initially broke bear in the morning, gap down, pump up. We talked about that on the opening stream. We got inside the gap, and now we have to fill it. So the next test for the bulls is this. If the same thing that happened last time, which means a key area, in this case, the pink line, acts as resistance, then turns into support, then forms a higher low, that should be it. The stock market crash is over. It's very easy to follow a 4-step recipe from here to see the reversal underway. Yesterday, I said, is it real? Are you ready? Well, no, it looks like it's here. Sucker punch for the bears, because in the morning, oh my goodness, it looked like it might be down and out. Into the G20, there were major headlines. Look at that, right? All the way down. We were read by, oh my God, 1%. Yes. And the reason why I'm making such a big deal about this is that if bad news can make us go down, we actually close green by the end of the day. What could good news do? Oh my goodness. Good news can make us go mega big up. How mega big up? Big up. The VIX is still in the low teens, but it did give back a lot of the increased volatility today. Remember, at the end of the G20, there is a communique. I haven't gone through and read it, but I did read some initial headlines from the German chancellor, who is outgoing, and let's read and see what he had to say here. All right. I didn't read this whole thing, but let's just skim through it. G20 not clear enough on a certain country and this other country. All right. Well, I think there's going to be some updates this week. It's just a feeling I have in my bones, right? In my balls. I can feel it. All right. So just before we go further, I'm going to ask you for a huge favor. If you want Nvidia to go up after earnings, maybe you want to consider smashing a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much ahead of time. So all jokes aside, it was a big move today. We went higher by 5%. This is the biggest stock in the entire world. It's Nvidia. So why does this matter? Well, because right now, Nvidia is currently worth 3.61 trillion. You fi it, Apple. You fi it. You go back to the back seat. Number two, second place is the first to lose. Measly 3.45 trillion. You fi it. That's right. Apple's now down here to number two. So Nvidia's taking the top slot with its mega move today. If it dropped by $6 tomorrow, $7 tomorrow, I would say, cool. So if you see Nvidia down by 5% in after hours tomorrow, it means we're pretty much giving back the move from today. We're maybe going to be higher tomorrow by closing at the high of the candle. It usually means we have more continuation. But for Nvidia specifically, tomorrow after the bell is when we have earnings, which means we got just about one more day left here. Are we going to be at new all-time highs? Is it really going to be like these? Look at this one here. All-time high, lower high, crash. Then what happens? Earnings. You can see it right here. There's the corresponding date with earnings. What happens? Gap and go, right? Number one, baby. When number one, Nvidia go big up, big up, big up. Pop flag, pop flag, pop flag. Rocking that staircase of support, right? Climbing every Fibonacci number. Boom. Set the high. So what could happen here? Hey, it could be the same. It could be completely different. I happen to think that if the company is able to beat, and let's have a look here at the forward estimate for Nvidia, because people think Nvidia is expensive. I'm like, well, you probably want to look at other stocks then. Nvidia is not that expensive right now. So if they're able to beat earnings, which it looks like they will, 78 is the whisper, 74 is the consensus. They're probably going to beat and raise. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear a beat and a raise. We want to raise guidance, want to raise earnings, want to raise revenue. If we look here to a forward PE, though, you might be surprised. It's the biggest stock in the world, but its forward PE is 35. Let's look over here to Palantir, because if you're like, oh, Palantir, so good, so beautiful. Well, it's worth 135. That's the forward PE. Today, it's worth 300. So I'm sorry. Nvidia is just a lot cheaper, 69 PE today, but it's a growth stock. That's why the forward PE is better. Again, stocks are a future discount mechanism. So what am I really saying? I'm saying that there's still some skepticism out there. And when we really go into a blow off top, it doesn't feel like it does right now. Why? We're at 50. People are unsure, and I'm unsure. So head, shoulder. Well, we crash landed back below here. What happened? Stock market crash. I warned you about it. People made fun of me. Here we are now. We're back at 50. What do? Is that a dead cat bounce? Well, we go back to look at the chart. It's not that complicated. If it's a dead cat bounce, then we're not going to do the rest of the recipe here. We're currently at number one. Why? We only just formed a higher high. Okay, so we got the number one and number two. What does it take? It takes follow through. All we got to do is close above 591.04 tomorrow. If we can rally by $1, right about $1, we're at number three. If we get to number three, we're very likely going to get to number four, which means it's only going to take one more day. Then the Sintra would be after Nvidia, going into the end of the week. Let me just double check. I think we had some economic data. Don't want to forget about that. Do we not? No, we had the G20. So is there anything else here? No. We got inflation out of Canada. I don't think that mattered. I thought that's what was driving headlines. I'm like, oh, Russia's talking. That's why we're down. All right, and Bitcoin made a new all-time high today. So, oh my God, is it time to go up? Well, place your bets, because Nvidia is going to report tomorrow. And let's have a look here to the last week. Let's go to, well, here's the challenging thing is that Nvidia, has it run into earnings? Let's look. In the last month? No, not really. 6% in about a month. That's not really running into earnings. Last 3 months? No, for Nvidia, that's not running. Why? Year to date, it's up 198. So it's actually going sideways for the stock in the last 3 months, which means even though there's a big run up today in one day, it looks like there might be some pickup here. Looking back to like the last week post-Trump, yeah, it's a Trump hangover, right? It hurts. Yeah, it hurts a little bit here. So the last thing I want to go through here is Trump scorecard. I forgot to have this up here, but let's have a look here and see. Trump scorecard is the S&P 500, right? It might be Wall Street's best hope. That's right, Jamie Dimon, right? What do we want to do? We want the lines to go up. We want to make money. That's right. Trump's scorecard is the S&P 500. So if he starts to do things, if some blah, blah, blah. So what it basically talks about is that if the market starts to have a negative reaction to some of the headlines he's creating, maybe he's going to pause. Maybe he's going to recalibrate. But we don't care about news. We care about the reaction to the news. That's the bull versus the bear recipe. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Watch the video on the left, or come hang out with me at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow. Thanks so much.